Hi everyone, this is my April to read shelf. Now thinking, Michelle, you just recorded a March to read shelf, what the hell's going on? Well, that was a disaster, is the best way to probably describe it. March, as you may remember, I had the City of Bones series, I had a Titanic series, and I had the Secret Breaker series as well. And I reread the first Titanic book, was just as good as I remembered, and then went on to read the rest of the series and just couldn't get into it. So I'm getting rid of that, but keeping the first Titanic book because that was why I read it. And City of Bones series, I just can't get back into that. I don't know what happened, so gave that to one of my colleagues at work, so they've got the full set. And the Secret Breaker series, I just didn't really give a damn about the storyline. It wasn't as interesting as Time Riders, for example. I thought it was going to be more of a Time Riders-esque book or series, but it just wasn't. That was like, what, 14 books maybe that I got rid of. This is the shelf currently as it stands. Quite a few coming up on this shelf that I'm looking forward to. There's some that I'm a bit meh, skipped before, so we'll see how those go. But let's just get into the video. First of all, we've got the Mermaid's Mirror by L.K. Madigan. Now, I have actually started this. As you can see, I just took it up for the sake of the video. Started this, gonna go back downstairs so I can carry on reading it because it's actually not that bad. Quite intriguing so far. I like the cover, obviously. Cover's really cute. And I previously got this from Amazon, as you can see. But yeah, I think the thing that drew me to it was the kind of blurb and the cover as well. So far I'm enjoying it. It seems quite interesting. A lot of details about surfing, which if chances of getting me in the water would be a fine thing. So next up we've got The Japanese Lover by Isabel Allende. I probably just made a complete hash of her name there. But it's one of those ones that kind of goes back and forth between the present and the past. It sounds quite good. I hope it'll be a good one anyway. I do like the cover, I like the way it goes onto the spine as well, so that's quite good. But I'm hoping this one will be good. I'm pretty sure I've skipped it before. I can't think that it's new on my shelf or anything. I reckon I've skipped it before. Then we've got Finding Me by Michelle Knight and Michelle Burford. And this is one of the, this is two of the lassies from the Cleveland kidnapping. As you can see, I got this from the works. So it's going to be one of those books, like, you always find these books coming out that from people who have been kidnapped. The other one I've got is the J.C. Dugard, I think her last name is. I've got her. It's always quite heart-wrenching to read, I find, so this will be another one. I don't think it'll be a keeper. I don't tend to keep these books. I think they're quite depressing and you read them once and that's it. But it's called Finding Me. And then we have Cecilia Ahern, Flawed. Now I have the next one on my wish list at the moment. I'm going to see how this goes because, as you can see, it's pretty thick. I think this is her first young adult series. I think the next one's called Perfect and it's on my wish list, and I think it's in the 2 for £7 deal or 3 for £10 deal at the moment. Hopefully this is good though, because it is quite thick for a young adult novel. I have this one, which is The Daughter's Secret. Can't think where I've got this from, but Pupil Teacher, Mother's Worst Nightmare. And it's one of those ones you always hear about, these stories about kids, or teenagers I suppose, running away with their teachers. Quite frankly, none of my teachers at school were worth running away with. Unputdownable. Is that even a word? Unputdownable. But I've maybe picked this up from the charity shop or somewhere. Tesco maybe? I'm not sure, but it's here, it's on my shelf. See what it's like. I have this weird book, self-published by the looks of things, because it's quite a large format paperback as you can see, and it's called The Bluebells of Scotland. I'm not even going to try and pronounce the author's name. But there she is. Tale of redemption that will be remembered long after the last page has been turned. I hope so. But Seashell Girl, I think I've picked this up from the charity shop because the spine's like quite creased. It's been previously read. There's a lot of these style of books which they never feel like they were fit in, and they stay next to the ocean and all that, so I don't know why they keep coming about. I'm sure I've skipped this before. And we've got The Last Pearl by Leah Fleming. Now, I started to get into her for The Captain's Daughter. I really loved that book. It's about the Titanic. Sounds interesting. I'm not sure how it'll be. I have found her books a little bit hit and miss. And we've got The Geography of You and Me by Jennifer E. Smith. I've read a couple of her books now. This is what happy looks like, but this is another one coming up. Sounds a little bit similar to something along the lines of like One Day or something like that. I have this book, The Missing by C.L. Taylor, who is a woman, just in case you weren't sure. These books seem to be 10 a penny at the moment. They're always the ones that the author seems to pop out of nowhere and then becomes very popular all of a sudden. So I'm not quite sure why that is, but they do sound good, so I do tend to pick them up, and they're normally in like a deal or something like that. So you can normally get them for pretty cheap. But I am looking forward to this one. I think I've got another one by her as well. And then I have After Anna by Alex Lake. I really liked the cover of this, which made me pick it up. I really like the swing there. You've got just the chains of the swing again. It sounds kind of creepy as well, I think. I think it could go either way. It could be really creepy or it could be quite... I'm just not sure, but... We also have 7 Years to Sin by Sylvia Day. And I love that cover. Love that jewel. Of course, purple. I have loved the Crossfire series. I've recently been reading one of her Kindle-only series, which is the Shadowhunter series. That was really good, but I wouldn't recommend reading that on the bus. This sounds quite good as well. It's more one of her books from the past. Like, I'm not sure when it's set, but it's got that feeling of being 1800s, early 1900s kind of thing. Then I have A Little House in Brookfield by Maria D. Wilkes. Now, this is a kind of spin-off of the Little House in the Prairie books and Caroline years. I loved the Little House books when I was younger. I still have my mum's copies. And I also inherited her Anne of Green Gables books as well. I have all of those, and so this is kind of now a spin-off. This is talking about the Caroline years. We're supposed to believe that's Caroline. I also love the TV shows as well. It sounds pretty simplistic, and you've also got like Rose, Charlotte and Martha. I think these are going into, I'm not sure about Rose, but these are definitely grandparents somewhere along the way. simplistic writing at the crossroads even. So I'll need to look out for that one. We've got 110 pages of book. The rest of this is like history, and then I think you've got a preview of the next book there as well. So it is quite short when you think about it. I have Suspicion by Alexandra Monir. I've read a couple of her books now. Very excellent books. I would highly recommend them. I loved Timeless. Timekeeper was just okay, but I'm hoping this will be good as well. I have The Lie Tree by Frances Harding, and this is a special edition that's illustrated by Chris Riddle. I really do love the cover of this. It's so beautiful. Love that, just little touches of green. Really, and you don't have it so much in the back. Odd ones in the spine there, and on the side, like this, which is full page. There's a really pretty edition actually of this book. It is a kind of young adult. Sounds interesting. It sounds a lot older than a young adult book. At least that's the interpretation I'm getting from it here. So we've got a few short books coming up. We have Alison Weir, Traitors of the Tower, and this is a quick reads book. So I normally pick these up if they're an author I've read before, because they're normally quite good. I normally find though that they're expanded into bigger editions normally. For example, I'm sure I bought, I think it was Kate Moss and the Winter Ghosts, and it was originally in the quick reads series of whatever year it was, and then it was expanded into the Winter Ghosts, and I was reading the Winter Ghosts going, I've read this before, I recognise this, what the hell's going on? But I do like Alison Weir books. I do like, along with Philippa Gregory, she's quite good. This is 75 pages, but you have all these blank pages at the back, and then you have a bit about quick reads and other books in the quick reads series. And then I have The Time Traveller's Quest by S&E Collins, which I don't know what this is about. It has a ship, it has an iceberg, and it has a clock. What could it possibly be about? This is a kind of young adult book again as well. Obviously about the Titanic, in case you didn't get my sarcasm there earlier. Chip and Skip Adventure. You've only got 92 and 93 pages, but the last page is just a series of clocks there. And then for some reason you have a couple of empty pages, and number 94 is numbered, but there is nothing on that page. Moving swiftly on before my battery dies again, I have two Colleen Hoover books. Now I actually got recommended this from one of my friends on Facebook, Lisa. She is very much into Colleen Hoover, so I'm trying a couple of them. They're just little short ones, as you can see, but this is Never Never, and this is also with Taryn Fisher as well. But I think I just got whatever was quite cheap at the time. They don't seem to come down in price very much, I've noticed. They never seem to be on any deals or anything like that. This sounds quite interesting actually. I mean, they've been in love since the age of 14, but then they, like, all their memories of each other are kind of removed or have vanished. I find that quite interesting. It's a kind of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Kinda, a little bit. From what I remember of that film, I didn't like it very much, but it does sound quite interesting. And I've also got Finding Cinderella as well, which I'm not sure about this cover. I kind of want to see more of him and less of her, but never mind. Yeah. Sounds interesting. There she is at the bottom there. I have another one of these books that are multiple authors, which I've only bought for one author. I'm featuring Lieutenant of the Future Eve Dallas. So maybe this is before she becomes Lieutenant Dallas then. But I don't know about these. I buy them and then I only end up ever reading the J.D. Robb books. I think I've tried all new paranormal stories. I've tried a couple of the other ones and the authors are just okay. I never really get into them that well. I think it's sometimes quite a good introduction to new authors. So far I haven't had much success with these ones. We have The Husband's Secret by Leah Moriarty. I still haven't read Big Little Lies and I don't know where the book is either. Somewhere on my shelf. Somewhere. Sounds interesting I mean this will be the first book I think that I've read of hers. I may be wrong in saying that, but I can't think of any others that I've read at the moment. So hopefully it's good and I'll like Big Little Lies and all the other ones that I've got as well. But I have a feeling this is brand new, so it would have been Tesco or Amazon or something like. Oh wait, that's weird. There is an Isbin, but there isn't a barcode, so maybe it was bought in a set or something like that. Now we've got Revolution by Jennifer Donnelly. The cover of this, I like the key and just the simple hands and the chipped nail polish. I like these kind of books where it's kind of past and present kind of intertwined almost. So I hope this will be quite good. I'm looking forward to it anyway. Now, I do like these Mammoth Book Of. I do have quite a few of them, but it's not something I find I can read too often. I have skipped a couple before just because I read them and then I've got quite a few of the romance ones. I've got the time travel romance, Scottish romance and a couple of others. I've also got the Mammoth Book of Crimes and you'll see I've got another one coming up in a second. Again, I think this introduces you to new authors you maybe wouldn't have read before. Sometimes you'll find authors that maybe you've thought about trying and then you think, oh well, they're quite good, or no, I wouldn't read them again, for example. The Eiffel Tower. And the kind of old trashed out car at the bottom there. I haven't heard of these authors, or none of them ring any bells, that's for sure. As you can see, there are quite a lot of Mammoth books. I don't even think I've even read a percentage of these. I tend to find them a lot in places like the Works as well. If you recognise any authors' names, because so far I haven't. Stephen Baxter sounds familiar. I think I have one of his books on my wish list. This one I actually managed to grab out of the green room in work. Quite creased, but I'll let them off, whoever it was. Oh, there's Stephen Baxter again. Oh, look at that. Titanic. What a surprise. And the Titanic book is the first one as well. That rings a bell, that name. So the stories are kind of around about like 15 to 20 pages each. Robert Silverberg again. I hope this will be good. I mean, I'm looking forward to this. Those two books I'm looking forward to because The End of the World and Alternate Histories, I think they'll be quite interesting to read. I think I need to put all my camera batteries on charge because I've just put this one in and it's already down to 1 bar. But this is the pair of I want to say, Un. I just keep getting unagi in my head. But this is a thin book. Don't like this kind of layout, how it goes. Not keen on that. That sounds interesting. And I like the cover. The young adult book again. And then I have this one by H.M. Castor. I'm not sure how to pronounce, like, do you say it as 8? Do you say it as VII? I would say it's 8, but I'm not sure that's the correct way to do it. It's all about Henry VIII, but a young Henry VIII, I think, so it's quite small writing actually. Then we have Vera McCall's biography, not much to say about that. Things have changed since she probably wrote this. She's now separated from her husband, so there's a husband there. I just dropped a book. I have another Little House book. I'm not even going to attempt that author's name. This is Pioneer Girl. I don't know how I'll feel about this because it's kind of more, maybe not as much about Laura or any of the Ingalls family, but more about someone else and looking back, I suppose. And so I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about this one, but I'll try it anyway. I may punt it more towards the Caroline book, see how I get on with that. I have Graceling by Kristen Cashore. So I actually saw this book the other day in the green room at work and it was hardback and I was like, ooh. And then I was like, no, you already have that. And then when I was moving my books along just there so they could fill this shelf, I was like, oh, there it is, what a surprise. This sounds kind of interesting. I've got a couple of books similar to this that are coming up like later on, like the Scarlet. They're all kind of strong female women, warriors, fighters, that kind of thing. But that is my April to read shelf here at the moment. So I'm going to end this video right now because the battery's dying again. I need to put my batteries on charge. So I think it's still going, possibly. But I will speak to you guys soon. I will do my usual, keep a rundown of the books in the description box and with my ratings and whether I'm keeping them or not. And I will speak to you guys again soon. I hope you've enjoyed this video and I hope you keep enjoying them because I'm quite enjoying filming them. Bye!